attempt in that time. So they've been absolutely dominant here at Lakeside. Haven't had too many major challenges from other sides right near the top of the table, such as Port Melbourne, so tonight should be a really good test for that home record. But South Melbourne's certainly reclaiming Lakeside as a fortress in 2022, and that should make them really tough to beat tonight for the Sharks.
Well, they're trying to apply some pressure high up the park here early, and the Sharks are good enough to come away with it on that far side. You can't miss the Sharks players tonight in that all-white kit there. It's quite striking. There's a lot of rainfall in the last couple of days. There'll be a bit of laundry to be done after this match, I'm sure, for the club stewards that are in charge of that particular duty. The big out, I suppose, is Chris Duggan remains out of the side. He's been a key player for them. He went on a run of 3 consecutive games, scoring in each of them earlier in the season. He's got 6. He's the only multiple goal scorer as well for the Sharks in the NPL Victoria this season as well. So his importance is certainly underlined. And interestingly, Francesco Sala starting on the bench tonight as well. As it just stops, that ball comes in. It's off the post early in the match. That was a huge chance for Harrison Sawyer, and he struck his header cleanly. Saw it come back off the post there, Oscar.
It was a brilliant header, got exactly the kind of contact that he wanted. Absolutely no time to react for Andrew Withers. The ball was already past him by the time he realised what had gone on. But fortunately for the away side, the post saves their blushes early on in this contest. Major chance for the home side to take an early lead, and that's post saves their blushes early on in this contest. Major chance for the home side to take an early lead, and that's the complete opposite of what Port Melbourne will be looking for, because they know if they let South Melbourne get in front, I should say, then they'll be really, really hard to beat tonight, considering how strong their defence is. Playing South Melbourne this season, you absolutely have to get your set piece defending right, because it is such a major source of goals for the South Melbourne side.
And it's Mikola's long throw again, aimed at Sawyer. He gets his head on it. Not enough purchase, and Irwin's giving chase again. Actually, the decision will be a goal kick, as it was the number 11, Emlyn Wellsmore, escorting it over the byline. Andrew Withers will get us back underway.
Just a word, Steve, on Fletcher McFarlane, you mentioned has played predominantly as a midfielder this season, but does also see the ball given away, Steve.
There's a chance for Mikola, puts it through with his legs, and it's a gift for South Melbourne as they return home. The party is already getting underway. It's Max Mikola, his 2nd goal of the season in NPL Victoria. The finish was precision through the legs of Withers, but you really have to ask, what was the Sharks doing there, coughing up the ball in such a high up the park area?
Adam Piddock has got to be tearing his hair out at the way his side have given the ball away, trying to play out from the back. It's madness in terms of defensive play from Port Melbourne, and they've been made to pay very early on, going 1-0 down at Lakeside to a rampant South Melbourne team. It's the worst possible start for the Sharks. They've got a lot of work to do if they're going to turn this game around now.
Well, this was one of the fixtures that was actually played both times last year. And the Sharks managed to prevent South Melbourne from scoring in either fixture. Well, that run of clean sheets against South is over all too quickly, as last thing they wanted to hear was the Zombie Nation ringing out after 6 minutes here at Lakeside. Well, that is the fate of Adam Piddock's side at the moment. Not a great start. They've got it all to do now. Forward by Evans, the youngster, who slotted in as a left back to replace Brad Norton, who's not in the team tonight. Langlaar, the goal scorer for Port just struggling to get possession, get some control at the moment. Ball over the top looking for Alan Webb, and he's got him behind here. Alan Webb round the goalkeeper. It's 2-0. Double your money. Alan Webb gets his chance and takes it in style. South Melbourne are demolishing the Sharks in the early minutes at Lakeside.
It's a fair thing to say that they are all over Port Melbourne in these first 10 minutes. 2-0 up. We haven't even hit the 8-minute mark at Lakeside, Steve. It's madness from Port Melbourne yet again, cut open far too easily at the back. South Melbourne identifying weaknesses and exploiting them early with the high press and with the balls over the top. Brilliant game plan from Esteban Quintas' side, and they've executed to perfection up to this point. It's a long road back for Port from here. I know I said that after the first goal, but it's going to be really, really tough for the visitors to pull one out in this game now, you'd imagine.
Adam Pittick's looking very tense over there in the technical area as Port finally get a chance to try and have a spell of possession after that early goal concede. McFarlane combining with Eager. Scoreboard attendant working overtime in the early minutes. This is Terminopoulos. Not a good touch, and he's let Sawyer in, and well, he's spurned a chance there because he had Alan Webb, the most recent goal scorer, in space on defensive midfield role alongside Pat Langlar tonight, so perhaps he'll be looking to get forward even himself, the way things are going. The guy who's, normally a central defender, a rangy type, we'll see what happens, but I'm sure there'll be a number of South Melbourne players looking to get in on the act tonight and try and trouble the scorers. We see young Daniel Edwards, who's been a star for Port Melbourne this season, lined off at left back last week. Looks like he's lining up on the right-hand side today. He'll be one of those key players that they need to get involved. This is Sesnick receiving the 1-2. McFarlane. Now, Port did play midweek in the Cup, and maybe they're a little bit leggy after that experience. They come up against one of the lower-tier NPL sides, the Manning United Blues. Got a pretty easy win in the end. In that particular fixture, 4-0. Valley Sesnick with a double, an own goal, and George Mells. All those goals inside the first 66 minutes of that one. It's a pretty open and shut case there, but tonight it hasn't certainly gone in that direction at all. Edwards flicks on the header. It's away by Almazi, on by the headband-clad Langlar. Aerial ping-pong. Sawyer, he's going to be flagged for offside, and it was a speculative shot from Langlar. He took it first time, and he hit it pretty sweetly too, as it crashed into the high jump mat behind Andrew Withers' goal.
It does look, Steve, as if we are having some troubles with the stream as things stand, so we do hope that everyone at home can hear us. It is 2-0 South Melbourne, the first goal coming from a poor defensive giveaway pounced upon by Max Nicola, and then the second just a long ball over the top playing through Alan Webb with a composed finish. So South Melbourne have been absolutely all over this Port Melbourne side.
What have Port got in response? This is Edwards playing it to the far post. He's got a teammate in a little bit of space as well. It is Tavia, one of the star players for Port so far this season. They've only been defeated once all season, mind you, as well, which came last weekend when they went down 2-0 to Avondale. And similarly to this, both of those goals are in the first 20 minutes. Only worse thing today, both goals in the first 10 minutes. If there's any positive, Oscar, it gives them a lot of time to pull those goals back.
Well, that's right, and Port have proven themselves to be a high-quality team this season. What we've seen in this first 10 minutes is not representative of how Adam Pittock's side has played for the majority of 2022, so they'll back themselves to get a foothold in this game and perhaps work their way back into the contest.
It's a decent ball. Ian Wildsall, in the end, it's too close to Harvey Lopez. Clutches that one. Brings it to the ground.
But yeah, you mentioned last week suffering that first loss of the season for Port Melbourne, that game against another high-quality opposition, of course, in Avondale. But you wonder how that will perhaps affect the mentality of the squad, or whether that will bring them kind of back down to earth, that kind of effect when things were going so well for them for such a large portion of the season on that unbeaten run. I mean, South Melbourne, of course, know more than a thing or two about having their unbeaten run broken, of course, having lost to Oakley a couple of weeks ago. But they bounced back really admirably last week at Paisley Park against Altona. So that was what Port Melbourne were looking to replicate, but they have just been caught cold by this Port Melbourne side, who are the only side which has come out with the necessary intensity for this kind of occasion.
Oh, the intensity's impressed me, Oscar. Absolutely. And just looking at Adam Pittock's side as well, it looks 24, plenty of football ahead of him and plenty of improvement. It's a central defender. And central defenders, often not reaching their golden years until they're maybe late 20s or even a touch older. This is Tumanopoulos, 1-2 with Mal's. And onto that far side. Mal's in a bit of space. He can turn and face forward. Floats it over towards Edwards at the back post. Can he bring it down or bring a teammate into the play? Well, he had the right idea there, trying to square up the header, but it just ran straight into the waiting hands there of Harvey Lopez, who gratefully accepted that one. He looks pretty flashy tonight too, and he's purple and orange as well with the boots. He's giving orders, looking to get play going again. He's just going to plonk it down on the ground.
I think the thing that makes this challenge all the more significant for Port Melbourne is, you've mentioned how they're missing Chris Duggan, which is, of course, in and of itself such a major blow to this side. What that means is that the way they like to go forward, the way they like to attack is often with aerial balls into the area where Chris Duggan can read them better, get his head on them and pose a threat in that sense. And considering that's how Port Melbourne like to play their attacking football, it becomes really challenging when they're coming up against such a sizable, physical, numerous South Melbourne defence, and the way that South Melbourne are set up. So you'd imagine it's ideal for countering the kind of attacking play that Port Melbourne will be trying to utilise in this contest. So might need to see some adjustments perhaps from Port Melbourne, and I think it again emphasises the importance of a player like Dan Edmonds, who's got that pace, who can run out the defenders and try and catch them out and get in behind.
It's going the other way at the moment as Sawyer sends that ball sky high. It's a chance for the youngster, Morgan Evans, 19-year-old, getting his chance from the start tonight. George Mel's looking forward. He hasn't got a lot ahead of him. Tavir is one option. He just elects to go back. Now to Monopolis. It's cut off easily by Almazi, and South are going forward again, looking dangerous. It's Sawyer. His pass is partially cut out, and Wilkins will just nod that back to Withers. He hasn't had a save to make yet, Andrew Withers. He's just had to watch the ball hit his post and then pick it out of the net twice, which is certainly not how he intended his night to pan out.
I mean, clinical finishing has probably been the number one most impressive thing from South Melbourne this season. It's what's given them all the success that they've had, and the way they're outperforming their expected goals, and they score time and time again when you wouldn't think it, or where it appears to be a low percentage chance, but they become experts at putting those opportunities away.
I love a team in NPL outperforming their XG, and I would say that their finishing has been of a higher standard as well. Like you say, both of those finishes tonight absolutely clinical and on par with anything that you would see in the next tier of football in Australia, at least I would say as well. That first finish by Mikola, clean through the legs, and then Alan Webb rounding the goalkeeper with complete confidence. It takes a lot of confidence to go around the goalkeeper, and he did it with aplomb, really. It was just so easy to go through and find the back of the net there as Edwards is looking to play the crossfield ball to Tavir. Again, running out of options here. McFarlane now. There you go, he's got it all in front of him. Sesnick. Still he goes, Valley Sesnick. Can he get a shot away? He goes onto his left. Sesnick with the shot. It's a good block in the end by Jeeba, and has that crossed the line, and it's awfully close there, Oscar.
Certainly was very close. Javi Lopez, certainly he was in the back of the net, but it looks like he did just enough to keep the ball out. Very well controlled, and that was certainly as close as Port Melbourne had come. So, well, positive signs from the away side.
Well, here's a chance for Wilkins getting forward. And his cross goes all the way across the 6-yard box and finds nobody. And that was a good forward advance from Josh Wilkins, who's playing as the right central defender of a central defensive trio tonight. Getting forward there and getting into a good position too.
And I don't think it's a surprise that we're seeing Port Melbourne have more success when they're trying to find goals in a way that isn't putting balls into the area aerially. I think that we've seen when Valley Sesnick ran straight at the South Melbourne defenders, that achieved a lot more success and was a lot more difficult to manage for South, as well as Josh Wilkins getting super high up the pitch and flashing the ball across the area. I think they're better routes to goal for Port Melbourne tonight.
It's absolutely right, Oscar. And just as you say that, you just feel that they've just got a little bit of confidence from those forward advances that they've had in the last few minutes, as Wilkins is going to charge forward again. And with having the three central defenders against, just stop here because there's a chance for Alan Webb storming forward again, unselfishly looking for Chris Irwin. He didn't have enough on the pass. There's a strong header there by Marshall as he came forward.
left-hand side, Port Melbourne making runs, first with Dan Edwards, then with Josh Wilkins, which has certainly found a weakness in the South defence.
Chance for Alan Webb, set up by Mikola. And could be back to Mikola here, back in, and Sawyer on the turn, can't get his shot away. Desperate Sharks defending in their own 6-yard box there. All hands on deck, and they come away that time
Kemarin juga kayak
with
gini.
the concession of a corner kick, much of the protest of Andrew Withers amongst others there, who feel that should not be the decision quite clearly, judging by the body language there, as he's got a pretty handy underarm volleyball serve there, I have to say, sending that one over the fence. Be a corner for South Melbourne, and the big man who's a threat is Marshall, Sawyer, and of course Yankovic as well. Serious goal threats. It's a corner by Mikola, swung in towards Withers, who clutches it easily in the end. He's going to get the Sharks going forward here. Looking for options. It was done. Couldn't quite find the advanced run, which was George Mallis, who'd made a good run in beyond the number 10 there. But he was just marshalled out of it by the duo there of Jake Marshall and Marko Yankovic.
And look, I mean, we're over 25 minutes now through this first half. Of course, South up 2 goals within, I think it was 8 minutes. So Port have clearly settled a bit into this game. I think they've done well to get the likes of George Mills and Luke Tavia on the ball more often. The problem is that so much of how South play and the attacking threat that they can pose still exists for Port, whether that be set pieces or Max Mikola playing the ball over the top or using his pace to get in behind. South Melbourne continue to pose a threat even if Port Melbourne are able to settle more on the ball. So it's a really significant challenge for the away side tonight. South Melbourne have got this game exactly where they wanted to be at this point.
Absolutely they do. And if somehow, as Wilkins comes forward, he's looking to slide it in behind the defence, but pretty much double teamed there was Luke Tavia. He's done his best making that run in from the left-hand side into the central area again. Alan Webb doing his defensive duties there, one of our 2 goal scorers so far. Alan Webb and Max Mikola with the goals, both in the first 10 minutes. The 2-goal cushion is certainly more than welcome to Esteban Quintas, whose side's had such a change in fortune this season. So much depth, even without the players that they don't have tonight. I was saying before the game, Oscar, as well, some of the players they're missing tonight, you mentioned Andy Brennan as well as Schrone and Norton, who both dropped out of the side tonight. Really, really deep squad, and on the bench as well, when you've got the likes of Jai that you can bring on as well. It's pretty handy talent and depth of talent that they have here under Esteban Quintas at Lakeside this season, and that's been key to their success so far.
And they're high quality players, but there's also such a leadership quality to some of those players that you mentioned. I mean, Brad Norton, of course, the club captain, is leadership personified, and so that's such a major loss, I think, on the pitch. And then to have Marcus Schrone, who stepped in last week to be the captain in Brad Norton's absence, to now not even have Marcus Schrone there in midfield. So there's some really pivotal figures, both in terms of quality and in terms of team dynamics missing for South Melbourne, but you can see that they've not let that affect them at all. They've come out firing nonetheless, and as you say, they've really got a deep squad of high quality players with a strong attitude, and the feeling around South Melbourne at the moment is just electric for their home fans, you'd imagine.
Yeah, you can see the smiles on the faces from here. On the far side of the ground, we've got Darren behind the camera tonight, giving you the best view of this from the comfort of your own home, if the stream is currently working for you, that is. And we hope that it is, and if it's not, we hope that it'll be back on soon as the ball runs down the players' race. Not sure if it's trying to escape the cold. It isn't quite that cold yet tonight. It has cooled off, and the conditions for playing tonight are actually quite good. This pitch is, we walked across it beforehand, it's in really good condition despite the heavy rain last night and the curtain raiser match that's already been played on it just before this one tonight as part of this big double header. And there's not a breath of wind either as well, so certainly optimum conditions for the players out there to strut their stuff, and it's South Melbourne who've been doing that with aplomb so far. As we get the ball going again, this is Marshall. Yankovic now. Bullet like left foot, finds Jeeba in space, looking to get forward is Ben Jeeba. Still he goes. He's got Webb on that far side. Tries to get the cross in, and it's well blocked. There's Wellsmore over there. South Melbourne win the throw in an advanced position. It's going to be Jeeva to take the throw. Shorter option this time to Mikola. He's got such a mastery on the ball, and that shot was an absolute bullet. And Andrew Withers was grateful to see it go over his crossbar, because if it had been a bit lower, he may have been completely unable to get a finger on that one.
Absolutely fair to describe it as a bullet. That was thunderous from Max Mikola. He's clearly brimming with confidence at the moment, considering his start to the night. And yeah, as you say, Andrew Withers again, just about no chance at that one. South Melbourne really get some venom behind the shots that they have on goal, and if that were on target, it's hard to imagine Withers being able to get anything on it, and it wasn't far away from Mikola. So South continuing to threaten, feeling very comfortable, I think it's safe to say. Half an hour gone in this first half. Yes, as you say, Steve, it is lovely conditions, and it's a nice night for football, I was meaning to say, and seeing the South Melbourne side strut their stuff is certainly a joy to behold from a neutral perspective.
Well, the active fans are now finding voice, so they're certainly enjoying themselves this evening too, and why not? Why wouldn't they be? Tumanopoulos, eager, better build up for the Sharks. Wilkins now sets a task. Dan Edwards. He's under pressure from Max Mikola. That last play from Max Mikola at the other end of the field, sensational how he picked the ball up in a tight area, and he was only going one place once he picked it up. It's the fancy feet, the fast touches, and then the acoustics on that shot, that strike on the ball from here. You could hear that one from the CBD. It was a very good connection as this ball comes in from Mel's. It's away by Webb. Looks like Adam Babkar almost got a touch there. Play goes on. Jeeba looking to get around Edwards, and the ball did cross the touchline there. Only just. But it will be a Sharks throw. Well, good to see the Clarendon corner, the active fans here tonight making some noise. And I always enjoy NPL Victoria matches a whole lot more when the active fans do turn up, Oscar.
It is certainly one of the better spectacles in the NPL, the South Melbourne home fans. They love to get behind their team. Of course, a tough couple of years the last few seasons, so no doubt they're relishing having a team which is dominant as we have seen historically the South Melbourne team be.
Well, with the proposed National Second Division in the pipeline and getting closer and closer to happening, they're certainly putting their best foot forward, at least results-wise, and also quality of performance-wise as well. Just disregarding the results, that they've been sensational to watch this season, which hasn't always been the case for South Melbourne and Esteban Quintas's sides in recent years, but they've really done some great recruiting all over the park, particularly in midfield and attack. One of those star players as well, Pat Langlar in central midfield. How good has he been this season?
100%. I don't think you can critique the recruitment that South Melbourne have made. They've really added in the areas where they were, I think it's safe to say, lacking last season. And Pat Langlar with that creativity and that forward thinking in midfield. Of course, Max Mikola is just quality all round. So they've identified areas of weakness. They've covered them very well. Of course, it's the benefit of being such a historically relevant club as South Melbourne. They have that draw card, and they're able to bring in some really high quality players, and they're reaping rewards for that so far this season.
Well, Wellsmore looks like he's drifted out to the right hand side, so back to his preferred side in a switch. And Dan Edwards have swapped sides. Good sliding challenge there from the youngster. Don't know a lot about Morgan Evans, but he gets his chance. South Melbourne youth product, just 19 years of age. He plays a midfielder, lining up as a left back tonight. Doing a great job in the absence of Brad Norton. An arm wrestle there. Sawyer wins that one, and here's the pacey Alan Webb. He's got the full sprinter stride going. Gets Alan Webb to put it away, and he can't, as he crashes that one into the advertising hoardings. Well, Alan Webb in full flight is a sight to behold, because we are at an athletics venue, and his running action is electric. He must be up there with some of the quickest players in anywhere in Australian football, the Welshman. Once he gets into full stride, the legs and the arms are pumping at an impressive rate of knots. And just too much pace again, not for the first time tonight, for the Sharks defence.
And you talk about high quality recruits, you can certainly add Alan Webb to that list. That passage of play, very much quintessential Quintas, I think it's safe to say, the way South Melbourne have gone about it this season. Harry Sawyer dropping in, holding up the ball, using Chris Irwin in the middle of the park, who then played through Alan Webb. It was a beautiful passage of play from South Melbourne and very nearly added their third. Probably should have added their third. I think Alan Webb will be.
Oh, there's Sawyer climbing high. Mikola's long throw does the damage. It's the direct route. It's route 1. And it's the big man, Harrison Sawyer, back on the score sheet. He scored on Anzac Day just 5 days ago. He's done it again. And how easy that was. He just said, thank you very much.
I was going to say, it looked like it looked just about in slow motion. You could see it happening from a mile away. Max Mikola putting the long throw in. Harry Sawyer was there. He was standing there at the back post. You thought surely someone's going to get across and cover. But no one did, and it was a simple header for Harry Sawyer. Made the Port Melbourne defenders making Andrew Withers' night super difficult, having to try and deal with those opportunities created. But that was far too easy for South Melbourne. I think Adam Pittock will be most disappointed perhaps with that goal, because that was just a complete lapse defensively. And 3-0, not even at half time. Still time for South to add even more goals, and you'd imagine that if they do, this game will well and truly be put to bed by the time we go to the break.
Well, here's the chance for Edwards to put the ball in on the volley. It's wide. Well, a really good chance there for the Sharks to pull one back, and how they need to. And it was Valley Sesnik, the man who was in good scoring form during the week in the Cup, scoring a double. He couldn't find the back of the net there, but he wasn't far away, and South Melbourne can't afford to give him that kind of space, because he won't pass up that opportunity again next time, I think.
And he struck it beautifully. It was wonderful technique from Valley Sesnik, of course. Great play from Edwards on the wing to put the ball into the area and pinpoint accuracy. And then Sesnik got good contact. You saw it thundered off the boot, just off target, just a bit too much power in the way that it flew over the crossbar. But it was very nearly a way back in for Port Melbourne. To be fair to the UA side, they have threatened going forward on several occasions, and on another night could have 2, maybe even 3 goals of their own. So things just haven't really fallen the way of the Sharks so far tonight, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think outside the first 10 minutes on the balance of play, the Sharks have been right in this game, and they have created those chances. It's those defensive lapses that have really cost them when they've been punished by such clinical finishing. And Sawyer looking to hold the ball up there. The arm wrestle between he and Michael Eager is something to keep an eye on tonight, as Tavir tries to get forward. Chase from Langlar. He's got no support, so he has to come back inside. Eager now to Manopoulos. It's a raking diagonal pass looking for Wellsmore. Trying to nutmeg the young left back. He's unable to. Inside by Wilkins, who continues his run. Sesnik. It's the lanky presence of Almarzi causing him problems. He's going to come away with the ball here, Liram Almarzi. Well played as he clears up the line on his left foot and manages to do so without putting it out of play. So Withers is going to reload here for the Sharks. Can they put enough pressure on to trouble Harvey Lopez in goal before the halftime interval? Terminopoulos now. This is better for the Sharks. Wellsmore just can't quite get around his opponent once again. Sesnik for Wilkins. All hands on deck in defence for South. Wellsmore. Tavir. This is Sesnik. Tavir. Can he get the shot? It's blocked again by Almarzi. Edwards pounces on the clearance. This is George Mells. It's a great switch to find Wilkins. Coming inside onto his left. It's a good reverse pass for Sesnik. Well out Harvey Lopez. Timed his run to intercept that ball to perfection. Good goalkeeping by him.
And again, we just saw a nice spell of possession and attacking play from Port Melbourne. Of course, South Melbourne are sitting a bit deeper than they would ordinarily, considering that they've got the 3-goal advantage. But going forward has not been their problem so far this evening, which is somewhat uncharacteristic that it's the defence that's letting Port Melbourne down so far tonight, because it's been really poor, and this is a side which, heading into tonight, had the second best defensive record in the league. They'd only conceded 8 all season, and that was having conceded 2 last week to Avondale. So 5 goals in a game and a half. That's more than half of what they've. Well, that's there's my maths at its best there. Just under half of the total goals that they've conceded in 2022 in the league. So it's all falling apart very suddenly for Port Melbourne. I don't mean to make too much of a deal of it, because of course they are playing Avondale and South Melbourne, perhaps the 2 best teams in the NPL Men's Victoria, but disappointing for Adam Pittock the way things have gone recently.
Absolutely right, and so disappointed he is that he's decided to make a first half sub inside the first 40 minutes. So, and it's going to be a bit of a reshuffle. Just Jackson Courtney Perkins, who comes back into calculations this week, he has been brought into the play, so an extra man in midfield, and the man taken off was the number 16 Fletcher McFarlane, who'd been playing as that makeshift central defender. So we will see a bit of a reshuffle from Adam Pittock's side. Defensive area. Now forward by Andrew Withers. We come back. Nicola repelled by Eager. Now Langlar has been having it easy in central midfield tonight. Puts it over to the back post, and Withers knocks that one away. It's still alive for South though. Nicola looking to get her around Tavia. He does so eventually. Nicola's ball in. It's repelled by that Sharks defence. Marzi, despite his height, couldn't get a header on that one. It just bounced too high. It's going to be a foul there, won by the substitute. So Jackson Courtney Perkins has an immediate impact, and the yellow card is shown there too. It looks like Matt Langlar receiving the yellow card there on the replay screen, but that won't be possible for us at the moment. But immediate impact there from the sub, so Adam Pittock can be perhaps positive about something there, that he might have made a positive change. Got that extra man in midfield is what the Sharks need.
Yeah, and just a word on Fletcher McFarlane. I was going to say something about him playing in at centre back just before Port Melbourne gave the ball away to concede that first goal. And I was going to say that I understand he does have experience playing at the centre of defence, and is, playing higher up in the midfield roles of other seasons, and doing a serviceable job. But a tough night tonight against the South Melbourne attack, and he really didn't look comfortable, and he was perhaps targeted by Esteban Quintas in the way that he wanted his side to go about things tonight. So not too surprised to see the change made, and of course necessary that Port Melbourne take those kind of risks to try and get their way, or work their way back into this game.
Well, there's a chance to almost play the ball in behind. It's a clever one from Sesnick. Played through to me, and he just couldn't quite latch onto that one. South Melbourne's defensive positioning's been on point most of the night. It certainly wasn't that occasion. This is Harrison Sawyer. Chris Irwin popping up on the left-hand side. Needs to keep this ball in, but he can't for Nicola, who bows at disappointment as that one crosses the touchline. There, not quite. Played forward by Morgan Evans, but to no avail. He's a busy player, trying to distribute the ball, but he's got too much on that one. I think it's fair to have a hope of bringing it down. The substitutes tonight on options for Esteban Quintas. He's got Matt Latrakis, Josh Addo, Essard Saglam, subkeeper Chris Kusnon, Jai Ingham, of course, as he mentioned, and youngster Xavier Ryan as well. This is Mel's. Trying to find a way to unlock this tight defence. Wilkins over the top, bring it down. Sesnick and Edwards with the side footer. It's blocked as well. How many shots they've had that have been blocked tonight? The numbers must be getting towards double figures. Space for Mel's. to get in behind. It was a good idea. He was making the run. Pitch a little bit too quick for them on that occasion.
Yeah, in South Melbourne, just with so many bodies back, it's so hard for Port Melbourne to generate the space or find a play in a dangerous position in the area because of just the pure presence of the number of, not just players, but tall, physically imposing players. Because you can imagine how tight all those Port Melbourne players feel trying to pick gaps in the South Melbourne defence. It's working with an effective formula in the South all season, and we're seeing it again tonight.
Well, they have tried their best to rotate positions and plenty of good movements within the final third, but despite that, it's been to no avail. And now, of course, it can come the other way so quickly. It's Max Mikula. He already has one. Well, he won't add to it with that shot because that's straight at Andrew Withers, and he's a little disappointed in his effort there as he was bearing down on goal. We praised their finishing. That wasn't his best finish, but I'm sure his luck could turn around. Perhaps a double still could be on the cards for him tonight.
A major opportunity gone begging for South. It was Josh Wilkins who slipped, unfortunately, just trying to change direction, and that created the opportunity. But Port escape.
Courtney Perkins with the shot. It's a solid drive. We had a good view of him from our position here. As Adam Babcock signals for a goal kick. No touch on that one from Harvey Lopez past the far post. Perkins on that one, and that's the kind of chance they need to take to try and get something going. If they can just find the back net or something like that, they can get some confidence up as we approach the half-time whistle here at Lakeside as the fans get ready to head into the canteen or the bar to rehydrate or find some refreshments in the second half in this dinner time kick-off tonight, the 6:45 match. NPL Victoria, round 11, is first versus fourth, but at the moment it looks like a much bigger gap or a much bigger gulf between the two sides than three places.
Just going back to Jackson, but you've already mentioned, Steve, the positive impact he's had so far in this game. When we saw that again, I think he's been a really positive change for Port Melbourne, and he's provided more attacking grade. Just another body to try and find some space going forward in that South Melbourne defensive third, but that'll have to wait for the second half.
Yeah, I agree. It was a very good positive substitution by Adam Pinnock, but at the moment they've got it all to do at half-time. It is, as you heard there from the ground announcer, it is South Melbourne 3, Port Melbourne 0.
Ya? Nah, isap. Bos dari mana kamu? Dari mana? Ke rumah?
Kak, berapa mau digaji di sini, Kak? Aku mau ambil motor dulu, Kak.
Di mana mereka? Di mana dia tinggal?
Asli sana tuh, asli Buagong Alfamart lah.
Oh, dia ini maksudnya rumahnya.
Iya,
Di sana?
Alfamart sana tuh yang dekat Alfamart lah. Kan ada tuh Alfamart tuh.
Oh, ini di bawah itu?
Ya, yang pas
Yang-
pengkolan tuh.
Yang di hutan-hutan di sampingnya itu?
Ya, itu dia jalan
Oh,
masuk. Tahu Bang ya. Ntar
tak kira di belakang sini rumahnya.
umpama nih, ntar kalau dia main ke tempat kerja yang tahu Bang kerja sana.
Kenapa?
Terus umpama dia ke sana kan, bawa namaku gitu mau ngutang jangan kasihan. Lalu dia terkenal tukang utang di sana.
Masa?
Iya.
Orang di sana, dia asli sana dia. Rumahnya di sana, dekat sana.
Warung-warung Madura di sana tuh sampai hafal sama dia.
Masa? Ngutang dia?
Utang.
Bangke.
Iya, Bang.
Terus dijual namanya orang itu.
Iya, ada temanku lagi sarjana tinggi tuh.
Kacamata juga?
Nah,
Tahu yang sering nongkrong di sana aja.
itu udah biasa itu udah dicari sama orang warung.
Masa?
Iya. Dikira kakaknya.
Oh, itu.
Mana adiknya yang biasa ngutang tuh Bang? Bukan adik saya gitu. Nggak ngajar anak.
Masih SMA SMP ya?
SMA.
SMA. Berarti adekan dia apa kamu?
Kenapa?
Adekan dia?
Ya, makanya tukang di kampung.
Sering dia di sana dulu sama yang cewek itu?
Iya dah.
Dia kan sering
Sama
nongkrong.
saya deh itu.
Iya,
Di sana ngumpul.
nongkrong di sana. Enggak tahu kenapa ditutup ya?
Itu tahu
Apa?
kan sepi katanya.
Iya, sepi sih. Apa tantanya apa kakaknya?
Tante.
Tantanya ya? Sekarang kerja di mana dia?
Nggak kerja.
Nggak kerja.
Iya dah.
Dia fokus kuliah ya?
Masa nggak lihat aku abang dulu di sini?
Enggak sih, soalnya aku kan
Sama-sama.
lagi ya samar-samar, nggak terlalu kenal gitu kan.
Dia
Dia
yang tinggi gitu ya.
nggak, dia sering di sana sama sering nongkrong di ceweknya itu kan.
Iya. Biar kayak gimana dia ngomongnya dikasih utang.
Kenapa?
Takutnya bapak nama aku loh.
Sudah.
Bapak nama aku ngutang dikasih sama.
Welcome back to Lakeside as the whistle to resume hostilities here to begin the second half. Sounds from referee Adam Babkar, and it is Steve Curtin and Oscar Rutherford with you tonight, Darren behind the camera. Welcome back for what promises to be a big second half. Both of these sides expecting big things this season, and certainly they've delivered so far this evening. But South Melbourne that have delivered so far tonight. They haven't played here for a month. Their previous two fixtures they played here before that were both 5-0 wins. And at the moment, the way the score is going, they're on their way to doing that again. As Harrison Sawyer is charging down at Andrew Withers here. He checks back and comes across. Good defence by Michael Eager. Gets a bit of assistance from Josh Wilkins. Now, I didn't even get time to welcome you back for the second half because Harrison Sawyer just began that attack out of nowhere. Onto the report here as well as Ed was going to bring that one away. Yes, good evening for the second time to you tonight.
No, I appreciate that, Steve. No, that's right. South Melbourne a very bright start to the second half. I was indeed going to say that I was really interested to see how South approach the second half. I mean, we know, I think, what we're expecting from all we're expecting a team that will come out and throw everything at the South Melbourne side. I mean, that's very well scouted by the coaches. It's only way that they'll possibly, get something out of this game. But for South, I mean, we know what a strong defensive unit they are. I am very curious to see how many
Ya,
points
kalau
they
pakai
can
sendiri
forward when
enak.
they do get those opportunities.
Tahu ini ada
They're
orderan
going
bunyi
to try
soalnya kan.
and, compile the misery even further for Melbourne. But the early signs based on Harry's run is absolutely South.
Iya, masuk ke apa-nya
Continue to hunt goals, seeing how long's left in this contest, and I think that's the right thing to do, and it will certainly create a better spectacle
Ya,
for us.
bunyinya kadang
Well,
beda-beda
it was
bunyinya.
Mel's combining, and eventually they lose the ball. Evans looking to get forward. The youngster is playing at left back tonight. What's the decision here? Eventually it
Bertiafal
is free
balik
kick
ya.
to the
Lancar
Sharks.
balik.
Max Mikla not impressed. He thought he was pulled down.
Ya kan udah dilahir di Bali ya.
But it was
Bapaknya
deemed
juga
that the foul
lancar.
had already taken place
Bapaknya.
before that. Tavir's been fouled here again, so 2 fouls in as many seconds there. Awarded to the Sharks,
Oh,
and
tapi tahu bahasa Bali.
fancy that they'll just slow things down and they might get the big men forward to swing this one in. They are missing Ross Archibald tonight, which is important. We mentioned their defensive woes so far this evening. Fletcher McFarlane slotting in and now being substituted.
Berarti di sini tinggal sama
Sounds
siapa?
like it's a central defensive pairing of
Oh, di sana
Higa
tinggal di Gerobokan.
and Wilkins.
Oh, dulu
So
aja.
we wait for Mel's to
Oh, cuma
deliver
di
this
rumahnya
set
di sana
piece.
sekarang.
They're all waiting for the cross. Higa's in there. It's away by
Kamu anak
Almazi.
berapa? Pertama, kedua?
And Jeeva looks to come away. It's met solidly by Edwards. He's getting physical out there in the early stages of this second half.
Orang Bali juga mau orang
I was
Bali.
just going to point out, Steve, that we saw those 2 free kicks given away in quick succession by South on the far side of the pitch. The first one, it was initially a set up for a free kick, but then they took it quickly, and then another foul. I think it was Morgan Evans who made the second foul. But that was absolutely cynical, to be honest. I'm surprised there wasn't a yellow card dished out, because that was a challenge made precisely because South Melbourne had not yet set up defensively and the players weren't in the box. So Fulham were trying to catch South out.
Gimana sekarang?
Morgan Evans denying that opportunity, and referee Adam Babcock perhaps a bit lenient in that instance in allowing Morgan Evans to get away with that challenge.
We spoke to Adam Babcock before the game, and he was quite chilled before the game. He was quite chilled during the game as well, perhaps. Edwards with a kung fu style kick forward, just crosses the touchline.
But it was clever from Evans to get in as early as he did before the ball was put into the area. That's what, because of course if he caught his opponent late, for example, then he'd be much more likely to suffer some consequences as a result.
Well, yeah, the youngster, Morgan Evans, is showing some experience there. There's another player who's come through the South Melbourne production line. He's sending it forward to Manopoulos. He's going to volley that ball through. He's going to run into the sea of blue shirts back there.
Biar gitu
Another
tetap
chance trying to get his first touch and trying to keep his body between the ball and his opponent, Alan
tidak.
Webb.
Soalnya kan kita sebagai ada beli.
Edwards,
Sini nggak?
Mel's over the top. He just can't quite find Lathan Dunn. Lathan Dunn, the most advanced player at the moment for the Sharks. Sort of playing without a genuine striker at the moment. So they've got Francesco Stella, who's been playing in that attacking role recently in the absence of Chris Duggan. Well, Stella is still on the bench, so we're waiting to see him come on.
This is one we haven't mentioned perhaps enough so far in this broadcast, the role of some of the perhaps less cited Port Melbourne players in particular, the likes of Lathan Dunn, Matthew Ntumanopoulos. Good to see them getting their opportunities. I think Ntumanopoulos will be pivotal to anything Port Melbourne try to create in this second half, and you'd imagine he'd get plenty of the ball as South Melbourne sit back, so he might be the key to unlocking the South defence.
Yeah, he has caught the eye tonight, Ntumanopoulos, and this one is going to just go over the crossbar from Luca Tavir. A speculative but albeit decent attempt. Also make sure the ball keeps behind the goals, keeping warm as well.
I mean, we know that Ntumanopoulos isn't the most advanced midfielders, and you've got the likes of Mel's and Luca Tavir there to create those opportunities, but just as that central pivot and seeing the whole attacking play and identifying the areas of the gap between sides, his role is really important in trying to break down the south side.
Yeah, that double pivot that he plays alongside with Mel's, he's going to be the stay-at-home player out of that too, and Mel's is going to be the roaming player. We've got a bit of a to-do here right in front of our commentary position, and Adam Babcock is actively getting involved to try and separate the two sets of players. Michael Eager's not impressed with something that's been said or done there.
I think it was Eager and Sawyer coming together.
they've been having a running battle all night, and they're going to just have a little talking to here. As Adam Babcock just says, I've seen what you're doing, boys. It's enough. Let's keep a lid on that for the rest of the match, shall we? We don't have to do any paperwork. And the boys shake hands. Well, there you go. Isn't that a nice little moment there? Sawyer, they're going to resume hostilities straight away though, as this set piece is swung in. You just watch. Almazi standing over it. Ben Jeeber riding shotgun. There's Almazi. Penetration on the kick perhaps. Played by Wilkins. Langlar's header. Sound like the crowd's in good spirits on that far side at the moment. Certainly enjoying being back at home. It's been a tough month on the road. They dropped points in one game, then they lost to the Oakley Cannons on Easter Monday. Side decision here. And they had to fight to the very last moments last week against a resolute Altona Magic at Paisley Park in that match, which was, well, it was only last Monday, so it was fairly recently played, that one. Got over the line there. That was an important 3 points to keep their nose ahead, and Oakley Cannons are breathing down their neck. But of course, they had their match abandoned last night due to a waterlogged pitch at Melbourne Knights ground.
It's a good point to raise, Steve. It's very fortunate that we've got a lovely, clear evening tonight, and could not contrast more distinctly from what we saw on Friday night. So good to see that we're able to get these games away, and not just get them away, but it's really perfect conditions for football. A bit chilly, but I think the players will certainly be enjoying what they're experiencing out there at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to have a slight delay as the physio comes out onto the field to offer a bit of treatment to South Melbourne player who's gone down there. We'll just check and see who that is. Those other results this weekend. Green Gully, they have not been a high-scoring team. That only scored 9 goals going into this match last night against Heidelberg United. And on a wet track, you fancied a 0-0 draw to be the favourite scoreline. They won that match 4-0 against Heidelberg United last night, Oscar. Quite a scoreline.
Generally for Iannucci getting involved, because having Alex Salmon back is so huge.
It's key.
It's just absolutely massive for Steve Downs' side, yeah. And it's not a surprise, I don't think, that even if Salmon isn't scoring all those goals, that just going forward, Gully have so much more attacking potential now, and I think that they become a real factor in the second half of the season. Well, maybe a big jumping the gun a bit there, but throughout the remainder of this season, and they're currently sitting, I think, just outside or just inside the top 6. So both of these teams, for example, will have to be wary of what Green Gully plays going.
Yeah, and in that final third with now the option to combine Salmon with Noel Bernardo, it's an exciting proposition with Bernardo doing like what he did last year for the Thunder, coming in off the left, Salmon playing the number 9. Very exciting proposition, and yeah, there's a lot to be excited about for Stephen Downs' side in the second half of the season if they can keep that run going. And George Mel's is looking to get his side back into the team. Courtney Perkins. Offside is the decision against Lathan Dunn. Just moved a fraction too soon and flagged by the assistant referee.
But I mean, you speak about other results, of course, Avondale being held to a 0-0 earlier today, so that makes this game all the more significant. A huge opportunity for both of these sides, and I think particularly South would have known heading in that they can win tonight, extend their lead at the top of the table, and perhaps that had some of an influence on the way they came out and started this game so brightly.
They may have just, that was a game that Avondale were certainly counting on getting the 3 points against Dandenong City, who had a coaching change during the week with Mickey Colina leaving. We've got an incensed Esteban Quintas here at this foul that's just taken place. It was Wilkins going through his opponent there, over on that far side. Adam Babcock's over to check on the welfare of... Is it the youngster there, Morgan Evans, perhaps? That's Chris Irwin, who is back up on his feet, hobbling the touchline. He's going to stay on the field and go to stand set piece from Max Mikula. Again, the big man forward for South. It is Mikula. He gets a good purchase on it. Marshall to the back post. He wins the header. Away by Withers. Almazi now coming from an offside decision there. Was Harrison Sawyer. Definitely offside there, given he was literally standing behind the goalkeeper as that header from Almazi came into the 6-yard box. Easy decision for the linesman. Edwards now gets the ball so he can turn and face forward. Stolen by Webb. Nicholas pass for Langlar. This is Jeeba. South Melbourne turning on the style now. Into the box and the finish is not there. It has crossed the byline well. A tremendous build-up. The player on the end of it, looks like it was the man who was just down injured, Chris Irwin. Maybe he's still feeling the effects of that bad foul that he was on the wrong end of.
Yeah, what an opportunity there for South Melbourne. That's the best that we've seen this half. I think Benji will be disappointed with the ball he played into the area. Just didn't quite find that right height. Had a bit too much on it to make it an easy tap in, and not enough height for Irwin to get down and put the header on. So just didn't quite execute as I think he would have liked Benji. But South Melbourne showing that they're still capable of opening up this Port Melbourne side when they need to.
Latham Dunn, the latest player to fire on goal at Harvey Lopez, and he managed to pick up that ball as it was deflected and nearly went behind for a corner. Saw him bringing the ball down. So Irwin looking to get on the end of it. Solid challenge, appeals for a foul by the South Melbourne fans. Nothing doing. Good stat I read this week, Oscar. Port Melbourne lead the league in shots off target with 71 so far for the season, and South Melbourne not far behind in the league. So, as we're saying, the ball kids, they won't get cold tonight if that trend is continuing, and there certainly has been a few high and handsome shots over the crossbar. Not by much though, but just enough to send it out into the athletics track area.
I mean, you mentioned how many shots off target South Melbourne have. That's really just a consequence of the fact that they just have so many shots.
A lot of shots.
We see Marko Jankovic, he's taken more shots than anyone else in the competition as the corner comes in. Nothing really in that instance, maybe a free kick, but yeah, they just, South Melbourne, they shoot more than anyone else. We know Marko Jankovic is so often involved in those, so even though they've had so many shots off target, I think I read that they've also got the highest shot conversion rate of any side this season, so just the sheer quantity of shots means that we perhaps get some statistical anomalies when in reality they've been a really effective side going forward South.
Absolutely. Harrison Sawyer, 18 shots going into this match. Well, he's had at least 19 now because he's already scored tonight. 9 goals, not bad going. Here comes the Sharks. Again, it's good defending by South, getting numbers back. Marshall and Jankovic really owning that area. The most dangerous part of the park where the Sharks are trying to get into. Claimed by Harvey Lopez. Latham Dunn looking to try and get his head on the ball, but just the height discrepancy there, not really allowing him to do so. Just got the first breath of wind of the evening coming in the back of the grandstand here on the eastern side of Lakeside. Severe now for Port. Terminopoulos. Almazi puts his foot through that one. Wellsmore. Langlar now. No side able to hold on to possession for a long period at the moment. Jeeba. Alan Webb. The chance for Langlar to get the early ball in, looking for Sawyer. Withers alert to the danger. Space for Eager to come forward. This is Tavia. Cesny. George Mells. South Melbourne just sitting off. Cesny riding the challenge, going to ground, getting back up. Courtney Perkins, the substitute. Cuts inside. Can't find space for a shot. Tavia now. This is better for Port. They're building something here. You can just feel the moment is coming. And Cessnick's shot. Well, in the end, it's actually quite a distance off target. No save need to be made there for Honey Lopez. Still seem to be experiencing trouble with our stream here, so if you're watching this one at home, we presume you're watching it on replay, and we hope you're enjoying this replay if that is the case. I'm sure you are if you're a South Melbourne fan. So that's the end of the shift for Max Mikler, and an outstanding shift that has been. He's scored once, he's assisted with a throw-in. Now he's replaced by the former victory in Raw man, Jai Egan, in a like-for-like switch there, Oscar.
Yeah, well said about Max Mikler. It was an excellent night for him. Of course, scoring that opening goal and getting the assist. He was really effective in tight spaces. I think tonight he saw opportunities. He pounced before just about anyone else. He really personified what we're talking about by a high-energy start to South Melbourne. He was just a step faster than just about anyone else on the pitch tonight, including Port Melbourne defenders, and that's why he was able to be so effective. So really nice to see him having such a big influence on games in the NPL Men's Victoria.
Yeah, he's certainly a player that you have no problems paying your attendance fee at the gate to come and see. Max Mikler. He was electric in those first 10 minutes tonight. Can Port find some power here through this free kick from George Mells? One arm in the air, floated in and off the crossbar. Well, it doesn't get much closer than that.
I think it was even a save from Harvey Lopez.
Well, he definitely got a touch on it because the corner is given. I'm not sure if he saved it into the post or just straight over, but it was good goalkeeping in the end to tip that one away. Good ball from Mells as well.
There's some confusion as players go to both corner flags to put one in.
Well, we're almost going to have a multi-ball, multi-corner there, which would have been good to see.
Maybe against the rules.
Now, this could be the moment. Still not going to go in for Port Melbourne. Sawyer initially, with the header, it didn't have enough on it to clear their lines, and it came back. Harvey Lopez breathes a sigh of relief as he claims that ball and volleys that one high into the night sky.
Yeah, I mean, sorry Steve, but Harvey Lopez, just moments after making a really excellent save from the header, and not dealing so well with the follow-up, which was fairly tamely hit towards him, but he just didn't quite grasp it first time. So almost a moment of danger for South Melbourne, but Harvey Lopez in enough space to be able to get away with those kinds of slight mishandles in the area. Perhaps indicative also of Port Melbourne not ready.
In the solar plexus, but he's got back up on his feet after copying that one from George Mells at close range. Got a few substitutes warming up, so we will await to see who's going to join us on the pitch shortly. See, Port Melbourne's got at least one player stripped and ready to go. As Tumanopoulos switches the play out to that far side. Mells brings it under control. Cessnick, change of direction. Shuffling the ball out to the right-hand side. Wellsmore tries to get it in. It's cleared away easily by Yankovic. Still they come through Courtney Perkins. Dinks it up to the back post. Away by Alan Webb. Jay Ingham, the substitute, puts his foot through that one. Eager and Sawyer resume their battle. Almost going on a bit of an adventure there. Mel's now. Intercepts. Webb. There you go. Takes it back. This is better from the Sharks. Nathan Dunn getting it forward for Tavia. Again, eventually away by Jeeba.
And it's been a good few minutes from Port Melbourne, finally starting to make some inroads into this South Melbourne defence, both from the set pieces and just trying to play players in or through in behind. Positive spell from Adam Pittick's side, looking like they're creeping closer towards getting a goal back in this game, but to this point, credit to South, they've held firm under more substantial pressure, I'd say, over extended periods for the last few minutes.
Absolutely, Oscar. And we're going to see, it looks like a double change from Adam Pittick's side. Nathan Dunn is one of the men coming off. I think we've got Francesco Stella joining us out there. Some of these players in the Port side seem to wear different numbers, whether they're playing in the home kit or their away kit, so something to be aware of if you are out and about watching Port Melbourne. Francesco Stella and Christian Bombacci are two of those. Both of those looking to come on and have an impact off the bench tonight. There's the number 23 out there, which is Francesco Stella. He wore 18 in their home match last week. He wears 23 tonight.
Number 8, Matthew Dimonopoulos, and number 22, Nathan Dunn. Being replaced by number 12, Anthony Iancello, and number 23, Francesco Stella.
Well, Anthony Iancello, a player who started last week, gets his chance off the bench tonight. So another like-for-like change there, I suppose, Oscar, with him.
Port Melbourne to come at them. So not too surprising in terms of the series of events that we've seen in the second half, and it's just been a really professional performance from South Melbourne. They've done exactly what they've needed to do, and up to this point they've executed it without too many moments of danger at the back. They've really done a great job at keeping Port Melbourne away.
That's absolutely right, Oscar, as there's appeals for offside, and eventually the flag is raised by the assistant referee. We'll go around the grounds and we can confirm that we have got the high scoring mixture here with Hume City and Eastern Lions. That is locked at 0-0 on 53 minutes, and the Bentley Greens and Altona Magic also locked at 0-0, that one on 25 minutes. Ball into the box, it's partially repelled. It's going to fall to Alan Webb. It's the percussion section has come into action here the Clarendon corner, Lakeside. The party is well and truly underway. We're less than 20 minutes from the full-time whistle, at least the end of regulation time here. South Melbourne feeling pretty good about themselves. 3-0 and the fans even better. Jeeba looking to get a good ball into the box. Can he get to the byline? Him and Tavir doing battle. Tavir had a piece of his shirt tugged there, and goal kick is the eventual decision. Might have a slight injury concern here for one of our South Melbourne players out there. Looks like Jai Ingham, the substitute, is a bit slow to his feet. Touch for Stella, the other substitute, so both the 23s on the pitch now off the bench.
You mentioned the Bentley game as well, Steve. That, of course, has meaning to both of these sides, considering Bentley are right up there in the top 6 race. I think that if scores remain as they stand and Port do lose this game and Bentley take just a point from that, they'll be able to leapfrog the Sharks into 4th place. So, not a good night for the Sharks, both in their own game and perhaps with some other results not going in their favour either. But still plenty of time left, of course, at Kingston Heath. They wouldn't want to presume that Altona won't be able to take something away from that game.
Yeah, well, Altona, they don't do too bad when they're on the road, actually. They picked up a number of their points this season on their away trips, or a high proportion than they have at home.
But I mean, the South, of course, I mean, regardless of what happens in that Bentley game, going to bed tonight, they'll be 6 points clear at the top. It's a huge advantage to have quite early on in the season. Of course, that does have the caveat that Oakley didn't play last night, that they had their game suspended, but still a really...
The psychological boost from that is huge.
Absolutely, and 6 points, it looks like quite a big gap at this early stage of the season, and I think it's safe to say that South deserve to be as far in front as they are, because they've been the best team this season. Although, of course, Oakley will have plenty to say about that, having beat them just a couple of weeks ago. As will Avondale, of course.
I look forward to seeing when those sides meet again. It's going to be very exciting stuff. It's a great result for Oakley Cannons on Easter Monday in that big clash against South Melbourne. Great crowd in there that day and a really good result. Now, Courtney Perkins has got a chance to try and get this ball in behind, but it was just easily cut out there by Jake Marshall. Just deposits it out onto the running track right in front of us. As the temperature just drops here a little bit, I can feel the toes are getting a little bit cold here in the eastern side grandstand of Lakeside Stadium. Down to, so it's 15 degrees by my thermometer here, but it feels a lot colder than that, to be fair. I have to say at the moment, Oscar.
I'm sure everyone at home believes that you've got a thermometer with you that you bring around to the various stadiums in Victoria.
I'd like to keep that illusion going that that is the case.
The physical thermometer that Steve Curtain brings around.
This is Stella for Port Melbourne. A bit of craft there by Josh Wilkins, who's probably, fair to say, more comfortable at the other end of the pitch, but why not try it when you're 3-0 down? Try something, try and get something going. It didn't come off on that occasion. The South Melbourne throw. Taken by Morgan Evans, who'll be pretty happy with his appearance tonight. The youngster, just 19 years of age. Good to see young players getting a go in NPL Victoria. There's a bit of a midfield scrap here. It might be Jeeva who's the beneficiary if he can... Well, he's got electric pace, but even he couldn't keep that one in. Wellsmore with the throw. This is Eager, the skipper. Who's wearing number 21. As I said, he will be most likely seen wearing the 15 in a home match, but he's wearing the 21, which is only worn by Ross Archibald. So it's not Ross Archibald, and that is in fact Christian Bombarchi. Ross Archibald received a 5th yellow card last week. I believe he still played in the cup match during the week, but he's serving a suspension today. Sometimes some confusion, players often able to serve their suspension for 5 yellow cards.
Nggak ada offline. Nggak ada ini, yang sering yang nggak ada yang pesan online.
Had a pinning side tonight. This is Wellsmore trying the shot from distance. Got some good purchase on that. It was dipping, but he needed to have been maybe another 10 yards further back for it to dip under the crossbar in time.
And you mentioned the role of Ross Archibald and the loss of that player for this Melbourne side. He has been so critical to the way that the Sharks like to play, I think, especially when they're able to. He plays at centre back, but does push forward and provide that extra number moving up the pitch. So not sure how that would have played out tonight against the South Melbourne side. We've seen Port Melbourne have to adjust, but that's kind of having gone 2 goals down early on on. So you'd imagine, you'd like to think really that had Ross Archibald been in the lineup tonight, that perhaps some of those really poor errors wouldn't have occurred so early on in the game, and we would have been able to see a fairer reflection of how these two sides line up or match up.
Yeah, absolutely, that's right. And combined with the loss of Chris Duggan in recent weeks with that ankle injury, another player who's hard to replace. A lot of sides only really have, potentially one real out and out number 9 in their squad these days, with the way that football works, with the the rise of the 4-2-3-1 as the most prolific or popular system for coaches and managers these days. And not having that backup option of a genuine striker and having to try and make do. So you've got some really electric players in the wide areas, perhaps, or in the number 10 position. Hard to make up for not having that person who gives that length and depth to the attack.
And I mean, it's such a crucial point in the season. We mentioned how brightly they started, but it's the run of three games. Last week Hastag, this week South, and next week Melbourne. I mean, they're not the game. We're missing the star striker, of course. I think it's a real significant loss for Port Melbourne to have Chris Duggan miss any of those games. But also, it's interesting to see how they come out of the other side of this 3-game spell, because, playing those sides who they're directly competing with for the final spots, for top 4, for top 2 even, to have been so kind of resoundingly beaten the last 2 weeks, I think will be a real blow to the mentality of this Port Melbourne side. So really important, or really interesting, I should say, to see how they rebound next week against Bentley and other side, right up in those upper echelons with Port.
Absolutely, it's a positive intent here with Michael Eager and co sprinting forward after Francesco Stella won this free kick, and George Mel's going to try and get a good quality ball in. Always difficult to penetrate this South Melbourne defence aerially, but they're going to try their best here.
Halo.
One of the targets, it's in.
Iya.
Nodded away. Yankovic.
Martabak rendang sapi. Yang
First to pick up the scraps.
super spesial 1 ya. Super spesial martabak rendang sapi.
Eager, who stayed somewhat forward.
37 tambah 37 berapa? 37.
Chance of being Cello, the substitute.
60.
All in, and Courtney Perkins tried to turn it in. Couldn't get it on target again, so another chance for Port. Just able to test out Harvey Lopez.
74.
Saya cuma punya 70.
Behind his goal.
Gak apa-apa?
Gets things going quickly.
Enggak apa-apa.
Oh, ya.
Oke. 2 ya.
Ya.
Oke.
Ball by Marshall, but there's no one there.
Jangan
It's
tulis.
out.
Ya, jangan tulis dulu.
Kenapa?
Jangan ditulis dulu.
Wells more calm on the ball.
Kurang 4.000 dia.
Dari mana?
Saya bayar sekarang.
Oh ya.
Mosrachi.
Ini bang.
Oke, terus.
Yeah, Cello. South Melbourne happy to have Port have the ball in these areas at the moment. It looks like it has stayed in there for Courtney Perkins. In the long sleeve, gave one hell of a chase.
Luas loh.
Well, it's the luxury that South Melbourne have earned themselves in this game, the number of bodies that are able to leave at home in the box and just make it impossible for Melbourne to find a space to get
Jarang
away
keluarnya.
into the area.
Well, there was a decent effort there, and the flag goes up for offside. The rebound was looking to be pounced on. It was Emlyn Wellsmore again who fired the shot. Was forced a really good save out of Harvey Lopez there too. Wellsmore saw the south side, the south defensive line just backing off, and he backed himself to fire that one on his right boot. Just really hit it with some fizz. Just couldn't quite direct it close enough to the corner, I suppose.
Yeah, and of course, just as I'm making that point, for Melbourne do get a good shot away. But yeah, but I think the Wellsmore shot really indicative of what we've seen so much from the away side is that the best opportunities they're able to create
Oh,
are
iya,
long range
bang.
strikes. And that's as close as they've really come, and that's what's made it so comfortable, I think, for South in the second half.
Ground announcing confirms that change. It is Chris Irwin, one of those players who come into the starting 11 tonight. He is early mark. He's replaced
Tengah mati bang.
Josh Addo, number 15. Taking a chance in the final 10 minutes here at Lakeside.
Berapa? Oh ya. Masih bersih.
So those players being comfortable, being happy to be in the squad rotation when there's hardly got to
Kali,
leave
Bang.
out of the squad some weeks. The ball's in by Ingham.
Tadi yang baru tuh mana bang ya?
Hah?
Yang baru.
Nardo, substitute.
Gininya ladang. Ada tadi. Yang ada tadi.
Chest there by Courtney Perkins. Boys as well.
Dalam mungkin ya.
To get past his man, does he win the free kick? He doesn't.
Masih.
Touch for Adam Pinnick there in the white sneakers.
So Jackson Courtney it's just about been the most dangerous player in this game. He's been consistently the one to create the opportunities and driving into the space and really impressive on the ball. So perhaps a bit of a point to prove tonight. Putting him left on the bench to start things off, but getting his opportunity early on, I think he's more than taken it with the way he's gone about things. So,
Tapi kipasnya ini.
a positive change.
Iya,
suggested
Bang, ada
it might
sering
be
dia
from
kena
Adam
tuh.
Pinnick, and it's certainly proven to be the case. And I think Jackson Courtney deserves credit for the way he's gone about things tonight because he's been perhaps one of the few forwards in the South Melbourne defence side.
Australia was called on 40 minutes. So he had didn't have so long to try and keep warm sitting on the bench, and he's made a real impact on the game, at least as much as you can say for a side who is still trailing 3-0. And I just want him to be in the starting lineup next week. And I think Courtney Perkins and Melbourne's in that central midfield area and gives them a lot more creativity. I think that they can try and push more, particularly when they're lacking someone recognised.
Oh, naik sepeda tadi anak-anak sih ya.
Well, Smalley can get
Naik
past
sepeda.
Lamar.
Naik sepeda. Dalam kan naik sepeda dia.
Forced him to go back to the Angelo switches play.
Yang dua tadi. Iya.
Breaks up when he touches the ball. Roll the knee plays. Advantage is given there. Angelo on the ball. Forward again. Hands on deck in defence for South Melbourne. Egan with the interception. Sliding challenge from Wellsmore, who got a footy before.
Where are you from?
Whether to get there.
Where are you
The
from?
yellow card shown.
Dari mana
Earlier sliding challenge.
asalnya? Indonesia. Oh.
Even the youngsters doing the imprint on this game, whether it be by fouls, tackles, or otherwise. And Addo, the substitute now. The appropriate first touch that he needed, perhaps there. Well, that's been a long time since South did score their last goal in this one, so perhaps the Clarion corner hoping for another one and been made to wait too long, they feel. Now here's Francesco Stella. Floated in, bouncing around and repelled again. And Commissioner Marshall. Nothing getting past them tonight. That's what they've decided.
Itu adanya. Adik kakak, kalian berdua.
Adik kakak.
Hello.
Oh, brother.
Focus tried to
Brother or friend?
Favourite says he
This
wasn't able
brother.
to. Now Fernando. Langlar. Chris pass from him late in the game. Sawyer. Right hand side now. Here, gets to the byline. Playing the role of a winger there, Harrison Sawyer. Swings to his though. Touch and change of direction.
Soalnya dia langganan di sini.
Here.
Mana ada yang suka beli, sering beli di sini.
Bisa. Dulu pas abang di sini. Iya.
Don't go over offside.
Bapaknya juga sering.
Bapaknya orang
Sesni.
Orang Indonesia cuman
Close
kayaknya
from here,
sekolah
not
di
quite
cuma
side on.
dekat Iya.
Steve, you mentioned the role of the younger players and Josh Addo coming up from the bench. Like Morgan Evans in the role.
Kira bapaknya depan sama
So
gitu.
I think that's another aspect of South Melbourne's season and evening that has been really, that must be really pleasing from the South Melbourne perspective, the way that those young players are able to get involved.
Absolutely. Well, Ingham's found Sawyer. That was an excellent opportunity. Completely missed that one on his left peg.
Jangan dulu tulis ya. Ya.
It
Kurang ini.
doesn't need to pick the ball out of his net. We have got 2 balls on the field at the moment as well, Oscar, so you can pick that one up your bingo card tonight.
Dia beli 2 kan cuma kurang 4.000 aja.
So far, we did have 2 players trying to take corners from left and the right hand side, which was a highlight. I haven't seen that for some time.
Kamu udah kemarin udah udah tempat ini.
Latihan martabak.
Ini. Bisa.
Sorry, just to finish the point on the outside, when you go through the South Melbourne lineup, whoever's got the line from South Melbourne, come back to the league, got the Liverpool 22 or under, and you've obviously got like Roberto coming off the bench, you've got Morgan Evans. So there's more than just a few young players who are making their mark in the South Melbourne side, which is a surefire indication of the sustainability to the brand or to the
Itu sudah ketahui dia ini kan. Super betul ini. Banyak campuran
Look at
ini.
the substitutes that they've got,
Selama ini.
named tonight, and apart from Johnny, who's 28 now, the average age of their subs is just about 21, so yeah, plenty of good prospects for the future here at Lakeside. I also carried a calculator with my thermometer as well. It's actually a combined device. Use the packing tape to wait for that one to dig tonight.
Kamu udah membanding dengan dia? Ya.
An early mark now,
Kalau
slightly
masih
early.
pertama yang
Harrison
satunya
Sawyer.
bocor. Kan udah lenceng.
Harris Sawyer played his role tonight, expertly got the goal, tickled and played simply just providing that physical, technical football that was the best they just weren't able to handle it sideline to side. Some players straight in the line. It was a really excellent performance for Harris Sawyer right now.
He's made it 9 goals this season for the
Aku
number
kadang
9.
bingung kalau banyak orderan tuh dah. Banyak orderan tuh kadang suka bingung.
Play in a attacking position. He's going to lead the line. He's got a good mob repair on him too. Has young Xavier Wright, the number 31. Wilkins coming forward like a steam train late in these final minutes, crashing into the advertising hoardings.
Dalamnya udah tambahin. Udah. Kurang lagi.
I think the clarity corner of Montenegro, who their favourite player is, blue and white.
Ini udah tuh belum?
Belum. We saw him last season looking quite isolated as well as the side. South really struggled to get the bench out of Harry Sawyer, so I think adding those players around him, the likes of Alice Webb, Maxim Lajayi, also plays pace. I think that really enables South to get the best out of their big target man up front, just players who can make use of the space that Harry Sawyer creates in behind. Plus, of course, the role he's played from set pieces time after time.
Right, the players they've recruited as Andrew Withers is going to go on another adventure here.
Halo Pak.
All adventures. Enterprising play for Andrew Withers. Yankovic, who's taken the captain's armband.
Sudah ya?
Aaron Sawyer. Alan Webb. Hungry for a second goal, but he won't get it by doing that. Recovery defense.
Susu berapa? 2-3 dong.
There you go.
Nah, jadi susu.
Biancello in space. Switch of the play. Jumping up and down the spot for a moment. So even being 3-0 up doesn't mean played every bump out there on the field. Players go through. Now into injury time. Probably don't have many minutes to put up on the board. Yeah. About the best final minute. Got up there to win the header. It's right there too. have got a score from around the grounds though, and it's good news if you're a Hume City fan because they've hit the lead 75 minutes against Eastern. They lead 1-0, so perhaps their first points of the season and their first 3 points of the season to come. Or the first 3 points of the season, at least, should I say. As Guy Higgins getting on the ball now, just waltzing past. Melbourne defended with ease. Offside against Addo. Sealed up otherwise. Just a bit of the late side. We did 4 or 5 in the next game. These games are done. Thanks very much. They're comfortable with those in the back right and the spicy mixer there. Absolutely. It could be a cold night. It's going to be hot on the mark, that one. I think anyone's going to challenge their record to 3 hours. It is full time here, and as you will hear through the ground announcers, speaker sound system, that it is 3-0 to the home side, South Melbourne, and it's the same score as we had at half time. The most recent goal, Harrison Sawyer, the earlier goal, scored by Alan Webb and